My second year as CEO of this historic charity, I am honoured to be at the helm as our new 2020 strategy has really taken shape. By July 21, we were finally able to reopen the centre fully, and it literally brought tears to the eyes of every member of staff when we had our first open house event. We welcomed over 120 members into Millbrook House. The sun shone and we could not ask for a more perfect day. By 2 p.m, every inch of the house and grounds was filled with laughter, smiles and genuinely happy people. For me, the nicest aspect was you could have walked in and not even realised that the vast majority of people there could not see each other. And all of this only made possible by our marvellous team of staff, trustees and volunteers. This year we certainly have felt the benefits of our mammoth 2020 task of calling every single member one by one. These calls allowed us to reconnect with people on a really personal level. The result, attendance at clubs, for those feeling medically safe to interact, has escalated beyond our wildest expectations. For those activities where people still felt it was too close contact, we were able to gain grant funding from Sport England to keep the activities going until such a time as attendance could naturally rise again. Thank you, Sport England. Other grants we received this year included 2 grants from the Isle of Wight Council. The staff at the council were so supportive. They listened to us. They took time to understand the impact of the pandemic on our members and what, as a charity, we were trying to do to help our members return to the outside world. One of the grants received allowed us to purchase our own car so we could provide door-to-door transport for our members, such an important service to offer on such a beautiful but rural island. The second grant provided vital funding for the continuation of our Member Support Officer. Originally planned for 4 months, we were able to extend it to 9 months with the support of this grant. The remainder of the grant was used to continue to fund the expansion of the befriending programme, allowing the one paid member of staff to work 3 days instead of 2 for a further 6 months. This gave time to continue to recruit more volunteers as the service demand exceeded beyond anything we had expected. The resulting services from the grant we received in 2020 from the National Lottery, called A Friend in Need, and our Alexa skill have continued to flourish. The befriending service was estimated to offer weekly calls to around 40 members based on the success of other services around the country. But by the year end we had recruited 65 people to be registered on the service, all enjoying regular and seemingly vital contact from our volunteer callers. A good proportion of the volunteers are themselves VI. This equates to a 50% increase in predicted outcomes. The Pals Genie project became an extension to the befriending project, which got people to map out their friends and family with whom they engage to remind them what support is already there, and then points the members to local clubs and societies to help fulfil their hobbies, a truly holistic approach. Our Alexa skill was awarded an Excellence Award on its launch by Amazon, something we could not be more proud of. A huge thank you to Jonathan from Talking News, who completed all of the coding for us and made the skill so accessible. He listened to every suggestion that we made. The result is a telephone-based and an Alexa-based skill. This saw our members migrate from USB sticks to voice-enabled control of their own funded Alexa devices. We chose to fund the Alexa show rather than the dots, and the lottery understood why. With the camera feature, the "What am I holding" skill can be enabled, proved invaluable to members. They can hold any item with text in front of the camera and Alexa will read the labelling out to confirm what the item is. Such a simple feature in this day of text-to-speech, but so valuable. Soon, of course, members realised that they could simply say, "Alexa, call Betty," and she would. To watch people really thoroughly work with and enjoy Alexa has sent heartfelt joy throughout our team. Dorothy has daily chats with her Alexa. "I ask her all sorts," she said, and she always answers. She seems to even know more than me. Our Hello Everyone QR codes have gone from strength to strength this year too. Thought of by our CEO, these codes have 2 purposes. Firstly, turning the written word into audio, now in 10 different languages, and secondly, to allow VI people to enter an area or building with confidence and independence. But the crucial factor with these codes is keeping the costs down. We sell them to organisations for as little as £50 for a 3-year licence, and of course visually impaired people still make each and every code to ensure they offer the best possible support. Our codes are in every Hampshire police station and island ferry ports, and we have 2 new big contracts secured at the year end with the Isle of Wight Council and Solent Enterprise. Our everyday member activities and services continue to expand as we always seek feedback on everything we offer to ensure it is a quality service and a service that is needed, and indeed not offered by other organisations. Duplicating precious resource is something I'm very keen to avoid. When I produced the annual report this year, I was so pleased this year to be able to fill the report with photos of face-to-face activities and services. Our weekly activities include swimming, coffee and chat mornings, both at our Newport Centre and across the island, craft sessions, striders, millbook milers, golf, horse riding, fishing, 10-pin bowling, short mat bowling and rowing. In addition to the weekly activities, we have days out where members enjoy sighted guides and door-to-door transport. Our newsletter, with a circulation of 800 and now attracting paid adverts, included such articles this year as Moorfield's new app, travelling around and off the island for VI people, Isle of Wight audio library services, living with Charles Bonnet syndrome, the new buttonless PDQ machines, Be My Eyes with lived experience, Sight for Wight drop-in low vision clinics, What is health advocacy, Money Matters and How Can We Help, IWASP, which is the Isle of Wight Against Scams, Blue Badges, how they work. And during the year, we all attended the RNIB Living Well with Sight Loss course with a view to delivering it in-house. The course content really does give a very balanced introduction to the reality of living with sight loss and the chance to make it even better with local island knowledge as a superb opportunity. Another example of us working with others to ensure resource is not duplicated. We were chosen as one of only 6 charities in the country to receive a Thomas Pilkington grant to deliver this course, which we are now successfully doing. During 2021, we re-established the Members Forum after the COVID break. This forum allows members to feedback directly to the charity with their views, ideas, criticisms and thoughts, aiming to get a good cross-section of age, sight loss diagnosis and experience of congenital versus gain sight loss conditions. The forum also brings items for the charity to lobby for and against. During the year, we called out to members to join the island-wide programme to make a souvenir of feelings as they came out of lockdown. We provided the eye templates and members individually decorated them as an important release of many feelings they were experiencing as lockdown came to a close. Finally, a new service introduced this year, which was identified in the 2020 survey, was buying things online. For example, using Amazon. So people pay us, we order the items, which can easily be returned if needed. It goes to show a little extra help is often all that people need. As Sue detailed earlier during her speech, we bid and successfully were awarded the Isle of Wight Council sensory contract to offer rehabilitation services to people living with hearing and sight impairment here on the island. The contract commences on the 1st of April 2022. Further details will be given next year. In 2020, we launched our new bequests and legacy policy and information. We have seen some very generous donations this year, which have been vital to continuing our work. We want to make sure families who distribute these bequests understand just how valued they are. Thank you to each and every person. Honestly, thank you. Firmly embedded into the philosophy of Sight for Wight is our strategic aim, namely to invest in our staff, volunteers and members for the long-term benefit of everybody involved. Staff were all very pleased to finally be able to work face-to-face again, with members following when the centre reopened in July 21. We all have our roles, but everybody in our team knows what everybody else does. This ensures that members get consistent and responsive communication, and the training undergone during the year really has made this advice clear, current and correct. In addition to refresher training with our associated organisations, this year we've all undergone training with our local eye clinic here at St Mary's. This is an update service on the CVI application, the low vision aid clinic and the overall process and timings people can expect. It is very important for us to help to manage people's expectations in their low vision journey, and training like this really helps. Our CEO also sits on IWAS, the Isle of Wight Opticians Society, and attended their large annual event to talk about what the charity does and how we can help individuals. The staff all understand that without the feedback of members and the tireless support of volunteers, we simply cannot offer the level and diverse nature of support and activities that we do. Turning now to our volunteers. With a small staff team, much of what we do can only be achieved with the tremendous support so generously given by our volunteers, including our trustees. They support all areas of our operation in facilitating and delivering member activities, education, fundraising, administration and governance. Whilst we have to sadly say goodbye to some people each year, we always celebrate the work they have done and everything they have done for the charity. Equally, we are always very happy to welcome new people who bring fresh ideas and experiences with them. Our usual annual summer celebration to thank volunteers was extremely well attended, with almost half of our volunteers attending on the day. The weather and the beautifully restored gardens brought so much joy to everyone. At the start of the year, our volunteer numbers were 70, and by the end of the year had increased this to 82. 35 below pre-pandemic numbers, and certainly a very different mix of volunteers working for us, some now remotely. Looking at lobbying, one of the core aims is to ensure as much as we can that the needs of our members are taken into account in everyday life. This year's lobbying example include working with the RNIB to give the right to a confidential vote for members. Whilst plans were put in place to allow VI people to use assistive technology to help them vote independently, the results did not go far enough. Locally, basic mistakes were still made, like signature guides not having the right number of holes in them to be able to vote. We continue with our work to resolve this, working with national charities by giving local examples. 2021 also saw the issuing of the new style of PDQ machine, which has no tactile buttons. Although the obvious answer is to use contactless, the reality, every 4 to 6 transactions, the PDQ machine will ask you to input your PIN number. A simple but impossible task if you don't know where the buttons are on the screen. We contacted the distributor and manufacturer and local PDQ providers and found that in fact the machines had been issued with an overlay to add a tactile guide for users, and many were equipped with a sound-based VI system. Sadly, however, no training is given to the end user, so the guides are never added and the audible guides never understood. We continue to work to change this. It came to our attention that the branding on the new Tesco's Fire Pit range of food was impossible to read for anyone living with colour blindness or indeed those living with age-related macular degeneration. Our CEO contacted Tesco's and we are delighted to report in just a few weeks the branding was changed and the colours used became readable. Thank you, Tesco. The work we started in 2020 with Beryl scooters continued as we mutually advertised that anyone misusing the electric scooters should be reported, and in return donations would be made to Sight for Wight. We're delighted to say we've received very few donations. Upon receipt of an Isle of Wight Council survey, our CEO approached them to explain that it was completely inaccessible, and in fact the survey was based on VI questions. They listened and a new board was formed. The terms of reference were to get together people who represented a diverse range of needs and design a standard type survey that could take account of their needs. Work is ongoing. In summary, 2021-2022 has certainly proven easier than the previous year, but the long-term effects of COVID are being felt, not least in missed eye appointments and some very scared people still feeling they cannot return to the new normal. Having lived with 88% sight loss since birth and with progressive hearing loss, I naturally use my own experience. But I know fundamentally every single person, regardless of whether or not they are living with sight loss, is an individual and deserves to be treated just as that, an individual. Thank you, Lisa, CEO, Sight for Wight.